Good evening, fans. A very warm welcome inside the Clark Athletic Center. After nearly 2 years, Beacons Volleyball is back. It's the 2021 home opener between your UMass Boston Beacons and the traveling Northern Vermont Lyndon Hornets. My name is Mason Stout. Thank you so much for joining me. We got plenty to come on the pregame show as we get you set for the opening serve of the 2021 home season. It's your Beacons and Hornets next on the LEC Network.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school. But every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
And we welcome you back as we get set for the opening serve here between the Hornets and your Beacons. We take a look at the key matchup in this game. First time these two teams have ever faced off. For your Beacons, Marcel Tiscareño. She's not only one of the most clinical finishers in the LEC, but in all the country. 373 attacking percentage, absolutely incredible. Also leads her team in blocks with 7. On the other side for the Hornets, a very young team, no players with collegiate experience, but one freshman that has stood out so far in the early going, Kiana Lewis. Leads her team in kills, only one with double digits with 15. Also leads her team in digs with 13 of them as well. We have a lot to come. As we get ready to prepare this game, we got a lots of preview for the 2021 season. 2 years in the running. Let's take a look.
Preseason's been a little bit different this year compared to past years because we haven't played competitive volleyball in over 20 months. So we're kind of just going back to our systems and fundamentals this preseason. We started to get into a little bit more competition like today, but we've been really fundamental based, which is good for us, especially with such a young group. We have 8 newbies and 10 returners, so it's good to get them involved in our system so early.
This is my 5th preseason. It's been very different, but we all expected everyone to come in shape, and right now we're working on having those players at a higher level kind of help and coach the new people and the people that haven't seen volleyball in a while and just working together.
Communication really is key, and it's extremely important, especially because we don't have that trust yet. We don't have that time that we could have had last season to build that trust and communication. So I think adding on to that and building more communication and making it up for the time that we didn't have is extremely important. As we have super seniors this year, I think that's going to help us out a lot. We have really experienced players this year, so I'm really excited to have that confidence still on the court, because without them, I feel like we would lack a little bit of leadership and experience. So I'm extremely grateful to have them on the court with us.
Me and Amelia are actually one of the only people that have actually been coached by Mike. And obviously we have 2 other assistants. We have Amy and then another assistant we haven't quite met yet. So we have a really energetic group. I think one thing that we love about Mike, and that one thing that all of us appreciate about Mike, is he's very keen on relationships and just brain chemistry and just how differently everyone works. So I really appreciate how he can push the people that are ready to be pushed, but also be very kind of nurturing to the people that aren't quite ready to be pushed yet. But we have a lot of energy from our coaching staff, so exciting things to come. Typically, I would say we're mostly an offensive-driven team, but this year I think we are mostly defensively driven. We have 3 really young DS liberos, and then obviously returner Sam. Allie has really stood out to me. Her fundamentals are set and sound. But I think really honestly all of our liberos and DSs have been busting their butt every day in practice, really working on those fundamentals. They have really great angles on our platform so far. So it's really fun seeing all of them succeeding, and they're just competing every single day for that libero position. So it's really fun to see all the youngins kind of compete for that.
For the outsides, Kelsey has developed a lot, and I think we see a lot of new progress in her, and I think Bree has come back really strong from her injury a few years ago, and she's only gotten better. And then we have a new sophomore, Liv, from Brazil. I think she's really stood out so far and could be a good force on the right side for us.
Taryn has really surprised me. She's only had one true season as a Beacon. She didn't even get her non-traditional season as a freshman, and now she's a junior, so it is a little bit of an adjustment. But I think Taryn is such a hard worker, and she really took the time over quarantine to get in shape and just focus on stuff that she can control outside of volleyball. And then her coming back into volleyball, her timing has been really great. Her work ethic's awesome. So I'm really excited for Taryn in the next few years for her.
Right now, since we are coming back from a big break, we're really using this time to kind of build in the beginning and peak, I would say, later in the season and just keep getting better and better. And I think in 2019 we had quite a few injuries, and I think we're determined to come back here healthy and strong and kind of use all of our players once again just to peak a little bit later and just continue to get better and better and better. So when the finals come, we'll be ready and the best we've ever been.
Because everything has been so unpredictable, I think we're taking it day by day. Just every time that we're in the court, being super grateful that we have this opportunity and just working hard every single session that we have. I'm very hopeful for this season, but we do have a lot of catching up to do.
So I think obviously what we want to do is win an LEC championship again. But I think our everyday goal is kind of just to get better and better and push each other, and we have to focus on the now rather than the future. So we're just going to keep focusing on every practice and every game to get better and better and better.
And we are back. Just over 7 minutes to go until we get this match underway and get the 2021 home season underway between your Beacons and the Northern Vermont-Lyndon Hornet. As we get you set to go, let's take a look at some stats so far for this season. You take a look at the two teams, there is a major discrepancy. Northern Vermont-Lyndon undergoing one of the more dramatic rebuilds that you'll see, not just here in D3, but at any division. You can see the kills per set, a huge discrepancy, 10-4. The hitting percentage is in the negatives for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, whereas UMass Boston is around 119 at the moment. Also assists per set, really all across the board. UMass Boston is going to have the advantage, but you have to play the match anyway, and that's what we will do in just over 6.5 minutes. We also take a look at some team leaders for the season so far. You look at UMass Boston, it's very balanced across the board. The only player that you see on there who's leading in multiple statistics is Carson Kominsk, who has 8 aces along with her 105 assists. Other than that, everyone else is spread out across the board. Meanwhile, for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, you see a couple players that really stand out. We mentioned Kiana Jones in the opening, 15 kills, 106 hitting percentage. It has been a struggle so far for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but that could all change tonight. It could be a massive non-conference upset, even if they were just to pull out a couple of sets in this one. We take another break as we take a nice little spotlight at Bree Henderson, one of the Beacons who has had quite the road to get to where she is right now. Let's take a look.
UMass Boston is my 16th school, which is definitely a lot. I went to 3 different high schools. 2 of them were in Florida, 1 in New Hampshire. I also went to 2 different middle schools, and I have no idea how many. Whatever the rest of the number is was all throughout elementary school. I think first grade I moved to 3 different schools in that 1 year, so that was definitely, obviously I can't remember it much, but that was a crazy year. One day on Thanksgiving, my family and I sat down and we listed out all the cities and the years that I was and what school I was at, and it's kind of funny. We filled up an entire page. The funny thing is that I was not a military child. My family just decided to move around a bunch. My dad was originally from Massachusetts, so that's why we ended up there for a while. My mom was from Minnesota. We tried that out for a while. Funny thing is, my mom didn't like the cold, yet we live in Massachusetts now anyways. But I was originally born and grew up most of my life in Florida. So it's definitely a big change going from Florida with no seasons, hot humidity, to Massachusetts and Minnesota with 4 seasons and lots of different weather changes. Volleyball definitely helped the most. I started playing in 6th grade, and It always helped because no matter what school I was at, since volleyball is a fall sport, I automatically had a group of friends that made it easier going to the year and moving throughout places. So it was definitely hard changing, but there was at least one thing that was consistent that made it a little bit easier, because moving so much isn't fun because you don't really get to develop roots. So during COVID, it was definitely strange not having volleyball. I was going through major withdrawals, but also my freshman year I tore my ACL, so it actually, in a way, if I had to pick a positive, it was beneficial for me because it was extra recovery time. So a little bit of good and the bad. I don't know the feeling. I've never felt the feeling, so it's actually going to be really nice that I get to stick with probably my favorite team that I've ever been on, the best group of girls, and just to be stationary for once. And then from after college, who knows where I'll go after that, but to have the time where I'm at one place for 4 years it's crazy to think about for me, but it's nice that I have the option to be able to stay here and finish that out.
Just 3 minutes to go until the 2021 season at home is underway as we take a look at the starting lineups. First, for the visiting Northern Vermont-Lyndon Hornets, they will start number 1, Nia Gardner. Number 9, Callista Lohman. Number 10, Kiana Jones. She will have the spotlight on her, as we saw from the beginning. Mary Weissauer, number 12. Charlotte Morris, number 14. Number 16, Kirsten Austinville. And number 18, Mackenzie Rametta, will be the libero. Meanwhile, for your UMass Boston Beacons, a very familiar lineup for the first couple of games. Alex Kiyose, number 2. Tony Guerra, number 4. Number 6, Amelia Chapieska. Number 9, Carson Kaminsk. Number 11, Alyssa Ruan, who will be the libero, number 11. Taryn Brogel, number 19. And number 21, Marcel Tiscareño. 2 minutes and change to go as we get ready to go. One final break before we come back for national anthem starting lineups here from the public address announcer and the opening serve of the 2021 home season between the Beacons and the Hornets. We'll be right back.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
And we welcome you back inside the Clark Athletic Center gymnasium. We're down into the tenths of seconds now as we count down to the opening match of the 2021 home season between your UMass Boston Beacons and the Northern Vermont-Lyndon Hornets. My name is Mason Stouff. Cannot believe that we are finally back. It's been almost 2 years. Never in a million years would you have thought a global pandemic would cut off the last LEC conference championship for this UMass Boston team. They come back to defend their title. No, they don't. It's because we have a global pandemic. But now they can defend their conference title, and they get on the road here at home. They come into this match 1-3, coming off of a 3-set loss to Endicott on the road just a couple of days ago. But as always is the case, this UMass Boston team plays a very difficult non-conference schedule, so don't really take a look at the record. But you look at the keys to the match, that home court advantage is going to be key. You've been on the road what feels like for 2 years, but you started the season with a couple of weeks on the road. Now you get the home court advantage. You got to cut down on the errors. This is a Vermont-Lyndon team who will probably commit a lot of them, so you've got to cut down on your own errors and get everyone involved. This is a match that, on paper anyway, looks like it very well could be a blowout. So get a couple of players in there potentially, take care of business, and see what you have. You've got a head coach that has not been with the team for a couple of years. He was a co-head coach for quite a long time, Michael Houlihan. Now he's the sole man in charge, and we'll see what he can do with this UMass Boston team here in 2021. Meanwhile, for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, this is a program that is going through a major rebuild. As the PA announcer gets things going, we'll go through the starting lineups of the national anthem. But for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, they are 0-3. They play out of the North Atlantic Conference, which has teams from New York, Maine, Vermont. Mainly in their division anyway, as is now a two-division league. It's Maine and Northern Vermont. But this is a team that is going through one of the more massive rebuilds you ever can. They had some violations that came to light about 5 years ago now, and then they had some sanctions levied against them in 2019 that resulted in pretty much a mass exodus of the players that they had. They've had a very tough going for the last couple of years. They've had a coaching change. They haven't won a match in 3 years, haven't won a set in 2 years. So it is going to be a massive test for them every step of the way. They do not have a single player on this roster for Northern Vermont-Lyndon that came into the season with collegiate experience. They only have one player, that's their libero, Rometta, who was actually on the team last year when the season got canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Everybody else is brand new. So the progress this season cannot be judged in terms of wins, losses, or even sets won and lost. It's going to be developing those young players into seeing if they can have something in a couple of years down the road as they continue to rebuild from their sanctions that were levied against them a couple of years back. But for UMass Boston, it's an opportunity to, in front of their home faithful, the first time in a couple of years now. We still got masks on. To say that the COVID-19 pandemic is still upon us is an understatement, as the Delta variant still makes its way throughout the entire world, not just the United States. But we have some normalcy back now with Beacon Volleyball getting set to go here in the 2021 home opener, and it should be a good one. It should be an opportunity to see a bunch of different Beacon players, as they should have a massive advantage against Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but you still got to play the match, and if you come out flat, it could be a shocker. As we complete the starting lineups and get set for the national anthem, we pause as we honor America and come back for the opening serve of the 2021 home season.
Right side hitter from São Luís, Brazil. Hi, I'm Carson Cominsk, a senior setter from Columbus, Ohio.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Ramon, and I'm a freshman DS from Quincy, Massachusetts.
Hi, my name is Taryn Brogel. I'm a junior middle blocker from Brantford, Connecticut.
Hi, I'm Marcel Piscareño. I'm a senior middle blocker from El Paso, Texas.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
We've previewed the matchup. We've seen the starting lineup, and now it is time for volleyball here at home in 2021. Teams have taken the court. Beacons all in white with the blue numbers on the back. Their libero, or libero, however you want to pronounce it. For people who have watched a lot of Olympics, you've probably heard a little bit of each, but Alyssa Ruan will be in black. You see her standing off to the side wearing number 11. She will come on in just a moment to start off this game. On the other side, Northern Vermont-Lyndon, wearing green with some gold trim. Their libero, Mackenzie Remetter, who is about to check in as well. She's wearing the white with the green trim, wearing number 18. As we get things underway here in the 2021 home season, it's the UMass Boston Beacons coming in at 1-3, taking on the Northern Vermont-Lyndon Hornets at 0-3. UMass Boston's lone win this season a 5-set comeback, came back from 2 sets down against Keene back on September the 4th. After that, 2 3-set losses against Swarthmore in that same contest or same tournament at Keene, and then the 3-set loss against Endicott. But now they start a 4-match homestand. 3 of those matches taking place in this little mini tournament hosted between UMass Boston and Babson. And we get things underway. Opening serve comes across the net, fielded by Garner, and that one's going to fall to the floor. And you're going to see a bit of that today. There's still, when you are as young as Northern Vermont-Lyndon is, there's still going to be some communication issues. This entire roster is composed of freshmen except for 2 sophomores. And another one will fall down to the floor, and a second consecutive service ace to start off the day for Taryn Brogel. The first we've seen Brogel here in the 2021 season, number 19, out of Branford, Connecticut. And it's going to be service ace number 3. Northern Vermont-Lyndon just got to find a way to get that first one back over the net. This one comes over, little float serve, ace again. 4 straight to start off the day for Taryn Brogel, the junior, 5'10", made 3 starts back in 2019. And that one will come down as well. 5 in a row. There's going to be some weird numbers put up in this game, that's for sure, as timeout is called by head coach Alex Pospisil for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. A quick one as 5 consecutive service aces to start off the day for Brogel. That is not the start that you want. Your head coach Alex Pospisil, graduate of UNC Greensboro back in 1990. This is his second season as the head coach, although this is his first official season as far as playing is concerned due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And when you ask what's more difficult, coaching a team full of All-Americans, where it's trying to potentially juggle some egos, juggle who do I play, when do I play them, because I just have a sheer amount of talent. On the other side, is it harder to be Alex Pospisil? I say yes. When you have a team that is so young, so inexperienced, so just a little bit deer in the headlights, if you want to call it that, their first collegiate experience across the board, that is incredibly difficult. As you see on the instant replay, ace after ace after ace. That one probably the nicest one, that little dip float serve. What a start by Taryn Brogel. Haven't seen her through the first 4 games. She comes out and she delivers 5 service aces, and she's still back there, bringing the ball across the net left to right. And this one right into the chest of Rometta and down, service ace number 6. UMass Boston picked to finish second in the preseason poll, as there will be a service error, but 6-to-1 ratio, nothing shabby about that. Eventually Brogel was just going to have to miss one, you'd think, and Northern Vermont-Lyndon gets their first point on the board. Back to serve for them is Charlotte Morris out of Middletown, Delaware. Brings it over, dug nicely by Chose. That one will be out of play. And back-to-back points for the Hornets. Chose, the junior outside hitter from Athens, Greece, was named 2-time Little East Conference Rookie of the Week back in 2019. This one comes over, in system, and down. Might have gotten a touch off the block, but the kill from Livia Trindade from São Luís Maranhão, Brazil. And back to serve will be the Beacons. Good year to come back for volleyball after the Olympic Games, get a little bit of extra publicity every 4 years. Beach volleyball and regular volleyball get that little bit of uptick in publicity due to the Olympic Games. Whistle blows, and it's going to be a penalty or a foul against Northern Vermont-Lyndon. Looks like one of their players crossed over that line too early. And so free point to the Beacons, brought over by Guerra. Tapped over by Garner. Set. And this one just a little bit too long. from Marcel Tiscareño, who we previewed in the opener. Very rare that you'll see her with a hitting error. That percentage of .373 is incredible. Last season, she finished first on the team, fourth in the conference in hitting percentage at .320. It's been even better this season, as this one is killed by Alex Chose. And it's 9-3 early. Mentioned this Hornet team. Their last win came on October the 3rd of 2017. That was a win at Johnson State. It was a sweep in that game as well. But since then, they have only won 2 sets. Those were back in 2018. They didn't win a single set in 2019, as that one clips the line, and it's a service ace from Kyose. Brings it over again. Tough play, handled by the libero. Who's there? And there's some miscommunication, and that's going to be the big problem that head coach Alex Pospisil is going to have to figure out, as at the end of the day, it's not clean, but there still should be some communication there between Morris and Remetta, and someone's got to get that ball over the net. This one hit into the net. Second service error of the day. But it's 11-4 early in favor of your Beacons, and the first sub will come in for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. This is also a very small team, as they only have, as this one will go long on the serve from Kiana Jones. We haven't called her name yet today. It's been tough to get anything going for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but Kiana Jones will be their player to watch, number 10 from Wilbraham, Mass. The libero Ruan back to serve, brings it cross court, dug by Jones, tapped up, free hit there, no block, but it's still dug by the Beacons, punched over the top by Brogel. This one not connected perfectly by Weissauer, and this one will go out of bounds, and it will be Lyndon point. Communication key in every single sport. But I would say there are very few where communication is more important than volleyball, as it is all about talking, being in the right place, and making sure you're communicating with your teammates. As a very nice serve, little dip came over the top by Naya Garner. And pick her out very easy with that reddish pink hair. As she brings it over again, another short serve, beautifully dug by Ruan, and Garner's going to double hit that one. Great dig by Ruan, as that serve came over short. Those are probably the harder ones, as they just get over the top of the net. But beautifully done by Ruan to dig, keep it alive. Nice set, and the kill was made by the Beacons. Serve coming over from Carson Kamensk. Leads the team in aces, although that could very well change if someone goes on a run. We've already seen Brogel do it to start the day, as that one is just to the side of the net and down, out of bounds. And Northern Vermont-Lyndon, after giving up the opening 6 points on service aces, since then, 7 points apiece between these two teams. And those are the little victories that NVU Lyndon's going to have to take. You might not win this set. You might not win any sets. But little victories within the set, keeping it alive just like this. This is much better from the Hornets. And as I say that, a mishit by number 16, Carson Austinville, out of Federalsburg, Maryland. By far the tallest player on the court at 6'2". Serve comes over from Chapieska. Cross-court pass and double hit by NVU. You could see that little extra touch as it got a little bit fumbled inside the hands, went off the left hand, then back off the right as she tried to set it. 15-7, Chapieska brings it across. That one might have gone long, but Garner got caught in two minds, and it's another service ace for the Beacons. All the records you've seen through the first 4 games are about to go out the window, particularly in the service ace category. Dug by Jones. And this one, is that off the block? No, it is not. Out of play. Charlotte Morris trying to tap that one off the block, but wasn't able to get the contact. and it is 17-7 UMass Boston. Float serve. Service ace. Amelia Chapieska from St. Paul, Minnesota, started her career now 5 years ago with the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State, but then transferred to UMass Boston, and as she describes herself, as she gets another service ace, and the Hornets call a timeout, describes herself as a super senior, the grad student. And it is 19-7 in favor of your UMass Boston Beacons as we have the second timeout from Northern Vermont-Lyndon, just trying to talk things over, and that's ultimately the key here. It's not about getting back in the set. It's about pumping up your team, getting them some confidence, and it is a mighty tall task that Alex Pospisil, who spent the majority of his career coaching in North Carolina, takes his first head coaching job at the collegiate level here with Northern Vermont-Lyndon, so moves from bright sunny North Carolina up to just 50 miles south of the Canadian border in Lyndonville, Vermont. It's an interesting makeup of this team. They have a couple of very local players. Caitlin Haggett is from Lyndonville, so literally the same exact town as Northern Vermont-Lyndon. You got another player in Allie Cloutier, who's from Coventry, Vermont. They both attended St. Johnsbury Academy just 10 miles outside of Lyndonville. But then you also have players from Alabama. That's Nia Gardner. You have a player from Seward, Alaska, Callista Lohman, number 9. 4,500 miles. The flight from Seward, Alaska, on the south coast of the northernmost state, all the way over to Vermont. So a very eclectic mix of players for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. And this was a team that had some potential, had a lot of promise a few years back, and then a couple of violations, and really turned things on its head for this program. Had a lot of players have to transfer out, and a 4-year probation period that's coming to an end now in the next year to 2 years. But you got to respect these players for going out there every day. It's going to be a struggle, but they are still playing collegiate volleyball as that one toes the line, and did it just go out of play? Yes, it did. So the run is ended, and it's 20-8. But at the end of the day, all these players for Northern Vermont-Lyndon are out there playing collegiate level volleyball, which so many high school or even younger players dream of. So you might not win a lot of matches, but you're still out there, and you know, at the end of the day, you're having fun. As that one went into the net on the serve from Austinville. Another server back for UMass Boston. It's Brianna Henderson, number 15, from St. Petersburg, Florida. That is a very difficult serve to handle. Doesn't matter the quality of player on the other side. That one came over like a laser, and you get handcuffed there as you can't stand up and dig it. You have to bend down and crouch. Tough to get your feet in position, and it just deflects off Garner. That one tried to go the other way. Went from the laser serve to the float serve, and that one about 3 or 4 feet short of the net, so that one didn't work out. But it's 22-9, and just 3 points away are the Beacons from taking set number 1. Morris to serve. Nearly got it to the top of the tape. Sometimes you see it tickle the top and fall over. Did not hear. Service error. And just 2 points away now from set number 1, going the way of UMass Boston. Serve will come from Tony Guerra. Not quite the same 4,500 miles that Lohman has to do, as that one is a service ace, but still a very long trip from Guerra's hometown of Rancho Cucamonga, California. About an hour and 15 minutes east of Los Angeles. But still a nice 4,000-mile journey from her to the friendly confines of Boston, as that one will do it for set number 1. Another service ace for Guerra. And the first set comes to an end with a score of 25-9. So business as usual for UMass Boston as they start off this home season. We will take a quick break, come back with second set action. It's the Beacons 25 and the Hornets 9 after 1.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
And we take a look at some highlights from that first set. It's a lot of service aces, that's for sure. You can see that nice little float serve. There weren't a lot of kills because there weren't a lot of great returns, but you got a beautiful one there. Not a lot of bright spots for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but how about that one? The nice little float ace serve from Nia Garner. But that was probably the dig of the first set by Ruan as she went down, got that second one off of Garner's serve. And another service ace by Bree Henderson, as it was all UMass Boston in set number 1. That's pretty much what we expected. But you saw some bright spots from Northern Vermont-Lyndon as well. Again, take the little victories. As we take a look around Beaconville, a huge slate on tap on Saturday, so coming up in the next 24 hours. Women's tennis hosting Western Connecticut at 1. It's the season and LEC opener, so no non-conference for women's tennis. They're going right into LEC play. Cross country at Smith College for the Smith Invitational, which is their season opening race. And then we'll be back on the Little East Conference Digital Network for women's soccer against Endicott tomorrow afternoon at 4. The teams huddle up as we get ready to go for set number 2. Mentioned this is a very small lineup for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. They only list 9 players on their lineup, and there are some injury concerns as well, so they really are only playing with a 7-player lineup in this game. This is part of a 2-day tournament spread out between UMass Boston and Babson. This match starting at 6 p.m. At 7, there's going to be 2 matches kicking off at Babson. Babson taking on Bates, and Hamilton College taking on the Seahawks of Salve Regina. And then tomorrow, both sites have 3 games at 11, 1, and 3. As the first serve is an ace. And the Beacons right where they left off in set number 1, here in set number 2. Serve comes over, and it's another ace. It's Kelsey Pereira, number 22, who's back there serving right now for UMass Boston. And head coach Michael Houlihan. He's in his 8th season as head coach of the Beacons, but he was a co-head coach for the first 7 of them. Then took a year off in 2018 or 2019, 2020, of course, the COVID year. And now back in 2021, he is the sole man at the helm as the service error gives the serve to Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but they return the service error. And it's 3-1 as we kick off the second set. Talking about the tournament games tomorrow, here at UMass Boston, it'll be the Beacons and Salve Regina at 11, Bates and Salve Regina at 1, and then the Beacons in the final game of the tournament against Bates at 3. Meanwhile, over at Babson, the 11 a.m. game will be the host, Babson, taking on Hamilton. Hamilton and these Hornets of Northern Vermont-Lyndon at 1, and then the Hornets will stay there as that one tickles off the hands of the libero Remetta, and Ruan gets another service ace for the Beacons, and then the final game tomorrow at Babson will be the hosts taking on these Hornets. There was a libero change, so apologize for saying Ruan. It's Guerra who's back wearing the black jersey at the moment. And she continues the service ace parade for UMass Boston. Good luck stopping that one as she paints the corner. Cross-court serve. That's a very difficult shot to hit. And she's doing that right-handed as well, so she's tucking it into that corner, and she is just pummeling the ball right now. It's been a tough day so far for Mackenzie Remetta as another timeout is called. It's been very difficult for Alex Pospisil, but got to give credit to his players. You really do. This is not going to be pretty on most nights for his Hornets. But there is still nothing to do except go out there, continue to practice, continue to grow as a team, and hopefully you can put together a little bit of something in terms of team camaraderie and effort. And you got to think, we might not see it tonight, we might not see it this weekend, but for you NVU-Lyndon faithful out there, it does get better. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and if they win a set this season, expect them to celebrate like you see some teams celebrate a conference title. That is how much winning just a set would be, let alone a match, for this Hornets team. They are on the road for a long time. They started their season at home against Fisher. They do not have another home game until the 29th against Castleton. They have a bunch of road games, a bunch of little road tournaments over the next few weeks before they finally go home to friendly confines on the 29th. But it's going to be a struggle for them. But you got to respect them for going out there and competing every single night. But they find themselves down 8-1, and they are staring down another serve from Tony Guerra, who has just been lighting up the serves over the last few points. Good luck defending that. This time it was well dug. Shot comes over. Very nice from Callista Lohman, the Alaskan. It's still there. Can Lyndon get this one over? It's blocked. And it's going to be a net violation against NVU-Lyndon. Wasn't sure who exactly touched the net, so let's judge it to be the Hornets, and it's 9-1. In set number 2, Guerra. Another nice dig by Lohman. No nonsense, hit over by Remetta. Second opportunity for the Beacons. Guerra pops it over. Kept alive. Weissauer brings it across. And this one killed nicely by Tiscareño. This doesn't need to be her day. This is going to be a day to see a lot of different faces for UMass Boston. But Tiscareño, no nonsense kill that time, and it's still Guerra back there serving. 10-1. Start off the second set. And another service ace. Kiana Jones going to the ground, but unable to keep it alive. Well, coming into this game, Carson Commons had the team lead in service aces with 8. You're going to see players in this game who might have more than 8 service aces. Oh my goodness, Guerra is on fire back there. This is not Northern Vermont-Lyndon. This is Guerra back there just painting the corners every single time, overpowering serves. There's been no nonsense from her back there. Another one. And it unfortunately deflects off the face of Remetta, and another service ace for Guerra. These are the ones you dream of. You go to sleep as a volleyball player and you just dream ace after ace after. You don't count sheep, you count service aces. And Guerra is just lighting it up at the moment. 13-1 into the block, kept alive by Weissauer. Jones. In system. Beautiful dig, kept alive again. Good job this time by Remetta. She's had a good point here. But another violation. Looks like Garner either went into the net or some kind of infraction, and it's 14-1. That was probably the best we've seen from Rometta. She's had a rough day back there, the libero, but she did great on that one. Couple nice digs. She will be served again, and another nice dig, but this one won't get to the net. Some miscommunication between Morris and Lohman. But you see Rometta trying to get into the game a little bit. Controlling that ball a lot better with the serve as subs coming in for Coach Houlihan. Jill Francis, number 5. And Chapieska, number 6, into the game. Francis, first time we've seen her. The senior from Colorado Springs, the setter. Her best performance a couple of years back against Wisconsin Whitewater. She had a 12-assist, 6-dig game out of conference. That one is beautifully touched down, and finally the run ends as Jones gets the ball in system nicely and is able to pop that one over the tape and get it to the ground. Jones will go back to serve. 2 serving 15 in this second set. It has been a struggle. And that one is beautifully killed again. Tiscareño, she doesn't miss much. Mentioned in the opening, 373 hitting percentage coming into this game. That's an improvement on what was the best on the team and 4th in the conference, 320 back in 2019. She had 216 kills in that 2019 season as another service ace logged by the Beacons, this time by Jill Francis. Her first service ace of the season. The game you can learn a lot about some players that you wouldn't otherwise get to see, as this one not enough from Francis into the net. Service error, and it's 17-3. As Garner, the sophomore from Birmingham, Alabama, back to serve. Mentioned there are only 2 sophomores on this team, Garner and Rometta. Garner was not with the program back in 2020 when the COVID year hit. So it was just Rometta who was practicing with the team in 2020 and then get a whole new set of teammates in 2021. Sub will come in. Back to serve there was Chose, but they'll switch it up. And it'll be Bree Henderson. Had that little spotlight on her and the ridiculous journey that has taken her to this point. All the different schools that she has had to go through across her lifespan to get to this point. And she gets a service ace, paints that back line. And it's 19-3, 6 points away from a 2-0 lead. Short serve, popped up. Jones. This one has to be popped over by Lohman. It is. In system. Lohman keeps it alive. But Weishauer could not do the same, and it's 20-3. And timeout number 2 is called by head coach Alex Pospisil. After this one, UMass Boston, we mentioned, has 2 games tomorrow right here. They'll take on Salve Regina and Bates at 11 and 3. Northern Vermont-Lyndon will head down the road to Babson, where they will have their 2 matches tomorrow at Babson. They'll be back-to-back at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock against Hamilton College and Babson. So the 2 teams in this little mini tournament, the 5-team mini tournament that the Beacons will not play, will be Hamilton and Babson. Beacon fans, of course, will be very familiar with Babson, as that was the knockout blow in the 2019 NCAA tournament. As the Beacons finished and tied for 4th, they finished 12 and 19 in 2019. But I mentioned earlier that it is a very difficult non-conference schedule that really all these teams in the Little East Conference play. So do not take that non-conference schedule and look at that record and say that's a reflection of the team. 12 and 19 is not a reflection of this Beacon team in 2019. They were much better than that record shows. They finished 5 and 3, tied for 4th in the LAC, but then ran the table in the conference tournament knocked off Plymouth State, the number 3 seed, 3-1 in the final before they went and faced the 16th ranked Babson team and fell in straight sets in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Hope to defend their title in 2020, but they'll had to wait a year, and now they will try and defend their conference tournament title here in 2021, where they are picked just behind Eastern Connecticut State. Both teams getting 3 first-place votes in the preseason poll, but just 2 votes separating Eastern Connecticut and your Beacon. This one dug by Lohman. Lohman into the net. Haven't really seen a lot of long rallies in this game. Not that you'd expect to see many. Back to serve. We'll see if she is going to serve. She is. It's Marcel Tiscareño. Tiscareño with a 17-point second set lead. Long behind the line. This one is dug. Tiscareño up from the back line to dig it. Popped over the top, and it was going to go down anyway, but handling. And it's 22-4, just 3 points separating the second set from the Beacons. Tiscareño. Another rifling serve. Jones couldn't handle it. And more service aces on the board for UMass Boston, and they are now just 2 points away from the second. Tiscareño. A little bit of a lob serve that time. Up to dig it is Lohman. And miscommunication between Morris and Austinville. And it's down, and set point for Tiscareño and the Beacons. Nicely dug by Jones. Can they get it over? They can. Lohman dug nicely. Here on the near side, the kill is down by Chapieska. And that will do it for set number 2. 25-4. A rout in set number 2. And all is going according to plan for Coach Houlihan and the Beacons. That will do it for set number 2. Another rout. And the Beacons have just one more to go before they pick the season opener here at home over Northern Vermont-Lyndon. We will be right back.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
And we get some highlights from the second set. Same story as the first. Lots of service aces. This one coming over from the Beacons, and you can see just painting the line. It was really the Guerra show for the first half of that second set. Ace after ace after ace from Tony Guerra, the freshman from Rancho Cucamonga. One of the few little rallies, and a beautiful kill that time by Tiscareño. Everybody's stats are going to go up in this game, as it has just been an absolute gauntlet of serves for UMass Boston. And that's one of those things where you can tell the talent discrepancy in volleyball pretty clearly. And again, massive props to Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but this has been all about UMass Boston and executing. You came into this game and, you know, you're going up against an opponent that you know is far beneath your level. But at the same time, if you don't come out ready to execute, some weird things can happen, and the Beacons have come out and have performed at an extremely high level. They have served, they've gotten the ball over the net. When they've had opportunities in system to get a kill opportunity, they have taken advantage of it almost every single time. And at the end of the day, these are the kind of wins that you feel good about, because you're going to see a lot of players that you might not otherwise see. We have another libero change. Allie Dean, the sophomore from Portland, Oregon, is now wearing the black jersey for Coach Houlihan. So she is wearing number 8. As we reset things for you, it's UMass Boston with a 2-0 lead. All in white with the blue numbers. Their libero, currently Dean, is wearing all black as the serve will come over. Handled, Weissauer. Jones knocks it over on 2. Doug, set by Gordon. And what a dig that was by Garner. Play of the day so far for the Hornets. They keep it alive. This would be a well-deserved point if Northern Vermont-Lyndon was able to find a way. This one, oh, it would have gone long, but it's just touched by Remetta. What a set, or probably the point of the match so far. Both teams with some excellent digging. But as has been the story, it goes the way of the Beacons. Serve will come over. Jones. Doug by Francis. Tapped over the top. Morris. Setting Lohman. And some miscommunication. And the Hornets equalize things at 1 apiece. Those last couple of serves coming from Kelsey Pereira, a Acushnet, Mass native. Dean digs. Pereira going for the kill, dug nicely. And another violation. And it's another point for UMass Boston. Dean heads out. Conversation currently taking place between Taryn Brogel, who will go back to serve. Brogel started this whole route. Started the day with 6 consecutive service aces to begin the match. She's back to serve now, number 19. She brings it into the net for a service error. Back to serve is the Alaskan, Callista Lohman. Dug nicely and beautifully touched over the top and down by Lydia Trindage. The Brazilian. Sophomore, so getting her first collegiate action, but was with the team last year. Played her both regular volleyball, or indoor volleyball, and beach volleyball at Monteverde Academy in Brazil. Of course, there is a huge beach volleyball culture in Brazil as well. So no surprises there. As the serve, not quite enough from Ariana Gordon. Local here to the Boston area. Started her career at Division III Becker College out of the CCC. Played in 86 sets back in 2019. For Becker as the subs continue. Coach Houlihan giving some advice as we continue to see some new faces. Melina Sullivan, number 13. Haven't seen her yet today. The sophomore from Richmond, Virginia. Just her 3rd set of the season. Dean, nicely dug. Poked over the top by Tiscareño. Knocked over by Lohman. Kept alive by the Beacons. Hit over by Sullivan. And double hit that time by Austinville. But we've traded points so far to start off set number 3. Whereas in sets 1 and 2, the Beacons just ran out to a huge lead and never relinquished it. Back to serve is Jade Hernandez, number 18. Brings it over. Jones, Lohman, Weissauer, and into the net. Hernandez the true freshman from Ladera Ranch, California. So you got a couple Californians. Got a player from Greece in Kiyose. Have a Brazilian. St. Paul, Minnesota. So a wide variety of different states and countries represented for Coach Houlihan's team, as that one will make its way to the floor. And Northern Vermont-Lyndon hanging in there in set number 3. This is exactly what you want. Your Coach Pospisil, just keep it close. Ask them questions. Make UMass Boston work for it a little bit. Garner pokes it over the top. Dean sets over the top by Tiscareño. Tiscareño the dig. Check that Pereira, number 22, the dig, but it ends up going out of play. And we are knotted at 5. Garner to serve again. The Birmingham native. And that one will just get over the top. And a beautiful kill by Trindaje. Tallest player out there for UMass Boston at 6'1", Lydia Trindaje. It'll be Dean the libero, back to serve. Brings it over. Does that catch the line? No, it does not. And this is the longest we've seen the Hornets hang around. Couple service errors by the Beacons. Some new faces in there as well. So this is going to be an opportunity for the Hornets to stick around, ask a couple of questions, see if they can potentially pull off what would be their first set win in 3 years. It's been a rough day by Austinville. Hasn't had the timing down as she swings and misses at that one. Coach Houlihan making some more substitutions. Ariana Gordon comes back in, number 23. And heading back to serve is Jill Francis out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, wearing number 5. Francis came into this match with 6 assists on the season, but those are her only major statistics, but getting a couple service aces today as well. And that one, there's going to be called a net violation against the Beacons, and we're tied at 7. A little bit of confusion as we determine where we are in the serving order, but it'll be Mackenzie Remetta, the lone returning player for this Hornet team out of Cleveland, Ohio. Bring it across the libero. Nicely dug by Dean. Pereira gets the kill. Always nice, you get the kill, then it's back to your turn in the rotation to serve. Always a nice little double 1-2 punch there when you get the kill and then you get to go back and use that energy and momentum in your serve as well. Brought across. Remetta digs. Brought over the top by Weissauer. Into the net. Dean unable to quite control it the way she wanted to. And we're back to trading points. It's 8-all. The serve to come from Charlotte Morris out of Middletown, Delaware. And this one just a tad long. The one thing that the Hornets have not had, despite the fact that they have battled all through this third set, they have not had the lead. Can't get together a couple of points in a row, and that'll be a violation. Again, getting caught in the hands, unable to field it cleanly. Taryn Brogel to serve. Brogel brings it over. Remetta, Jones, dug nicely by Pereira. And there was a brief moment where it looked like it was going to be in system, but the set was not there for Julia Hernandez, or Jade Hernandez, excuse me, on the far side. And it's 10-9, UMass Boston. Weissauer. Doug, in system for the Beacons. Hernandez kept alive. Knocked over the top by Remetta. Another opportunity for the Beacons. Another dig. And that one was not there. Garner trying to go over on 2. And subs coming in for Coach Houlihan. No shortage of substitution availability for Coach Houlihan. Mentioned he's in his 8th season, first as the solo head coach, with a record of 118 and 76 coming in, and there's some miscommunication between Weissauer and Remetta. And now the service ace parade is back, and it's a 3-point lead as the Beacons trying to close this one out very quickly in 3 sets before they have a doubleheader tomorrow. Weissauer gets the ball back. Can she kill it? Dean lays out for it, kept alive. Beautiful defense by Dean. And it's the point. And the Beacons are pumped up. Great teamwork between Dean, who had the initial dig, Trinjaje, who kept it alive. They didn't get the kill out of it, but the error results in a Beacon point. And even though this is a match that doesn't, at the end of the day, look like it's going to be anywhere close, plays like that still pump up anyone here and the Beacon faithful, as well as those Beacon players as well. Nice little tap over the top. That was well executed by the Hornets. Austinville comes back in for Remetta. Serve from Jones. Dean digs nicely. Kept alive. Brought over the top. High into the air. Austinville. And 50-50 ball, and they're going to say that Austinville came over to the net. You can't reach over the net and touch a ball that is not on your side. Got to make sure that at least part of the ball has cleared the net. Then you can go for it, but that time reached over that 6'2" frame and got a little bit too early. The serve to come from Jade Hernandez. Hernandez, this one's wide. But the Beacons just 11 points away from winning the home opener here in 2021. Mason South with you. Appreciate you joining us, which hopefully should be a nice, quick match on this Friday evening. Get you back to whatever you're doing on your Friday night. But then we have a full slate of Beacon athletics tomorrow. And that is a beautiful block. Haven't seen any blocks today, but we get one there from Austinville. That is her 4th of the season. And using that big frame, we haven't seen her connect on anything when it comes to the digs or kills, but she has the ability to get up there and block the ball when she's in the right spot. And that's going to be the key. If there's a lot of raw potential here for Northern Vermont-Lyndon, potentially head coach Alex Pospisil might be able to get out of her, and you see right there, can't teach height. You get Austinville in the right place at the right time, she can come up with some nice blocks. Dean back to serve. 15 serving 12. Brings it across. Weissauer and touchdown beautifully by the Beacons. It's number 19, Taryn Brogel, with the kill. Brogel started the day with 6 service aces and gets a nice little tap down kill on that one. Does she get another one? Yes, she does. Beautiful block and kill. Solo block by Brogel, and the timeout is called by the Northern Vermont-Lyndon bench. Is very nicely done by Taryn Brogel on back-to-back plays. 17-12 as Northern Vermont-Lyndon hanging around in this third set much longer than they did in the first two. But at the end of the day, those last couple of points as Taryn Brogel taking it on herself and getting 2 beautiful stuff kills. That might just about do it for this one, as Northern Vermont-Lyndon has played much better in this third set, but has not been able to put together any strings of points. And it's just 8 points separating UMass Boston from a nice quick 3-set victory to open things up at home. Mentioned a full slate of UMass Boston athletics tomorrow, with the women's tennis team kicking off not only the 2021 season, but the conference season as well. Track cross country on the road Got 2 matches for volleyball here at 11 in the morning against Salve Regina. And there's another match between 2 other opponents. It's Bates and Salve Regina, the 1 o'clock match, and then at 3, it's UMass Boston once again taking on Bates. And then 4 o'clock tomorrow, Endicott and your UMass Boston women's soccer team will take the field about a couple hundred yards away at the soccer stadium. Dean pops it over the top. Weissauer comes for it and digs. Knocked over the top. Kept alive. That one not quite enough from Brogel. Trying to go for 3 straight kills. 13 serving 17. Mary Weissauer from Milford, Connecticut. Back to serve. Went to Joseph A. Foran High School right on the Connecticut coastline down in Milford, south of New Haven. And a beautiful kill there. Trinjaje. 18-13. Back to serve will be Francis as Trinjaje comes out. Still very easy to tell. We're still in the midst of this pandemic. All the players wearing masks in all indoor facilities here at UMass Boston. You still have to have a mask. So even though things are a little bit back to normal, they are still far from normal. But at the very least, athletics are back. It's been a long time coming. It's good to have you with us. Does that one tip off the block? No, it does. Yes, it does. They're going to say it was last touched by Weissauer. Check that Lohman was the last to get a touch on it, number 9. It's 19-14 Beacon. Henderson. And this one's too long. After this one, be sure to stick around as we'll have a quick conversation with Michael Houlihan, head coach of your Beacons, after what should be a nice, tidy 3-set win if they can put away these next 6 points. This one into the block, but it'll be out of bounds. Hernandez into the block, but off to the right. And just 5 points away is Brogel back to serve. Brought over by Remetta. Opportunity for the Beacons. Kept alive. Should be a free play. And this one into the block and out of bounds. Ariana Gordon, the lefty, getting the fist to it. It deflects off the block, goes out of bounds. And now just 4 points away. Brogel again. Bring it across. Dug by Remetta. And this one tapped down by Gordon. It's kept alive, and we're still playing, and now it'll finally make its way to the floor. Katie Rennie, number 3, was there as well for UMass Boston. It was Rennie and Gordon. And one last timeout to be taken by Northern Vermont-Lyndon with just 3 points separating the Beacons and a 3-set victory. Again, after this one, assuming the Beacons can finish this one off in the next few minutes, we'll take a quick break, come back with a little conversation with Coach Houlihan, who should be a very happy camper. A nice quick 3-setter as he opens up the 2021 home campaign, but 2 more home games tomorrow and then Suffolk on the 14th. So after you're on the road for the first 4 games, you come back with 4 quick ones at home before starting off Little East Conference play on the 17th at Eastern Connecticut State. The first home LEC matchup will not be until the 25th when Plymouth State comes to town. We'll have some stats which are heavily in favor of UMass Boston after our conversation with Coach Houlihan. We'll have some highlights, and then at the end of the day, send you on your way on this Friday evening. But we certainly hope to have you with us bright and early tomorrow, 11 a.m., the first serve between Salve Regina and your Beacons. Brogel to serve. For Northern Vermont-Lyndon, they continue their long road trip. They have 2 games tomorrow at Babson against Hamilton and Babson. Then they'll go to Plymouth State. They will not return home until the 29th when they play Castleton. So a familiar foe in the Little East Conference. That could be an opportunity for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. Potentially pick up a win. Certainly pick up a set against Castleton, who are picked to finish, at least in the preseason anyway, at the bottom of the Little East Conference. So that could be an opportunity for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. That's for sure, to pick up a little bit of momentum. They will not start the North Atlantic Conference play until October the 2nd, when they will face the 4-time defending champs Maine Maritime. And this one is down, and match points coming. Gordon was there with the block, and Garner was not able to keep it alive. And match point coming. To serve it will be Alex Chose. The Greek brings it across. And an ace to finish it off. That's how this one should end. It started with 6 straight aces from Brogel, and it finishes with an ace from Kyose. And that will do it. It is a 3-set sweep between Northern Vermont-Lyndon as the 2 teams wave goodbye. Unfortunately, can't shake hands because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it was a quick one, 3-0. We will take a quick break, come back with a nice conversation with head coach Mike Houlihan, bring you some stats and analysis, and get you on your way on this Friday night. But your final score, the Beacons win it 3-0.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown.
And we are back after a 3-set victory for your UMass Boston Beacons, joined by head coach Houlihan. Coach, got to start with the elephant in the room, COVID-19 pandemic. How important is it to be back here in front of your home fans at home in 2021?
It's incredible. I mean, it's something that they've been working hard now for almost 2 years for. And for me, it's even bigger because, I mean, I didn't get to be a participant in 2019. So this is 3-year hiatus almost for me. It's great to see my family here. It's great to have my son here. So really happy about that and happy to just be back here and representing the Beacon.
And first match at home, you get a 3-set victory. I know that there was a bit of a discrepancy in the talent level between the 2 teams, but what can you learn in a match like this?
We really talked about the idea of we have to make sure we practice the details, and that's something that we were a little up and down on. So we have some film that we're going to go through. We're going to take a look at some of those details that we have to keep working on, and we saw a lot of positives today, a lot of people all the way down the bench that showed us some really good things. So we just got to be able to utilize this in practice and make sure that we get cleaner.
Appreciate it, Coach. A good win to start off. Great to have your family here as well, and it's great to have everybody back.
Thank you very much.
Set match. The Beacons win it cleanly. They win it fast. They win it 3-0. One comes over, in system, and down. Might have gotten a touch. And we welcome you back as we wrap things up from the Clark Athletic Center. You see the final score there. UMass Boston knocking off Northern Vermont-Lyndon by a final score of 3-0. We take a look at the upcoming schedule for this UMass Beacons volleyball team. They have a doubleheader tomorrow. I guess a doubleheader, although there is one match in between it, as UMass Boston and Babson splitting this preseason tournament between the two schools. So Salve Regina will be the 11 a.m. matchup for your Beacons, and then there will be a match in between before they take on Bates College at 3 p.m., and then they will wrap up this 4-game homestand against Suffolk University at 7 p.m. on the 14th. We'll bring some final stats to you in a moment, but some final thoughts from this game is it was really a comprehensive effort by the Beacons across the board. Got a lot of players in there. As you heard Coach Houlihan say in the interview, it was really a team effort. You got to see a lot of new faces in there as well. As you take a look at the final stats, not a ton of kills in this game, 16-7 in favor of UMass Boston. The big number right down there at the bottom, service aces, 31-2. Absolutely incredible serving performance. The returns were not there from Northern Vermont-Lyndon, but the service aces take nothing away from the Beacons. They were absolutely crushing the serves. The hitting percentage, 231 to -189. Huge discrepancies across the board. Although Northern Vermont-Lyndon did battle, you see the 15 digs, so they did lead in the digs category 15-14, but the 4 blocked by UMass Boston in the end, it was just too much for Northern Vermont-Lyndon. We take a look at the team leaders from this game, and there were a lot of them. The big one down at the bottom, Tony Guerra, in terms of aces, had 10. Coming into this game, the leader on the team had 8 aces. Guerra had 10 in this match alone. Kelsey Pereira, 429 hitting percentage. Chapieska with the 4 kills. Francis, the 9 assists. Pereira with 6 digs, and Brogel had 2 blocks. She also had 6 service aces to start off the game. Northern Vermont-Lyndon certainly competed. Can't take that away from him. Weissauer with the 3 kills and the 286 hitting percentage. Morris with 6 assists. 2 players had 4 digs. Austinville had that 1 big block at the end of that third set, and then 2 players had 1 service ace apiece. But that is all the time that we have for this one. It was quick, it was clean, and at the end of the day, it was a comprehensive 3-set victory for the UMass Boston Beacons over the Northern Vermont-Lyndon Hornets. I want to take the time to thank the production team and everyone here at UMass Boston, and certainly the fans as well, who are finally back in the stands. My name is Mason Snauff. Again, thank you to this great production team that we have on hand as the students are back on campus, the fans are back in the stands, and the volleyball team is back on the court. We will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. to start between Salve Regina and your UMass